Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. It is. It's not the World Situation Report. Hang on, just a second here. Let me let's see if I can change up the design real quick. We are Doofus After Dark. There we go. Hello. Thank you. Good evening and good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you may be watching. Because most people watch this at their convenience, don't watch it live. And I do appreciate that. I appreciate whenever you're watching. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the movie Leave the World Behind. And we're also going to get into the headlines real quick. And then I guess a little something for those that are around at the end. I'm going to show you one of my speeches from back when I was in politics. And the reason I'm going to do that is, well, just for, receipts so people know I wasn't lying all this time that haven't seen me speak before. And also because there was a court ruling in Indiana about ballot access, which is something I've talked a lot on here about how the political parties control who the nominees are. And there was a ruling here that may open that ballot access up. Now, once that ruling came out, I had a couple of people contact me about, hey, are you going to get on a ballot again and say what needs to be said? You're saying it on this little internet show. Why aren't you out saying it in on a bigger platform? At least until the primary, if you don't think you can win, and blah 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 blah. That is all a lot easier said than done, and it's also a lot easier. Anyway, stick around to the end, and we'll get into all of that. In the meantime, we will start off with run through the headlines here real quick. And again, if you're just joining, thank you very much. There was a power cut in New York, and plunged the city into darkness, according to the Mirror. This was 15 hours ago after a quote unquote explosion at Con Edison plant. So I've heard conflicting reports here. I've heard reports that the lights just flickered, that it wasn't a really big deal. So at the same time, with the topic we're talking about tonight, and if you're just joining us, our main focus is going to be the film Leave the World Behind. And power outage in New York plays right into that. Something I did not really expect to see, but nonetheless, Satan is playing a part in the Republican primary in Iowa. Satanic Temple leader challenges, quote, pathetic little coward, end quote, DeSantis to debate over the group's tax exempt status. There's a Satanic Temple display in the courthouse out there, and it was attacked today. So the tax exempt of churches in general, I believe, should be questioned. And this is as a retired pastor of the United Methodist Church, and that's a whole different thing. Anyway, so DeSantis came out, obviously, and he's challenging DeSantis to a debate. This in from the Daily Mail: a Mexican military, the Mexican military seized 10 IEDs. That's improvised explosive device, term that was coined by the military for a homemade bomb that often roadside that did incredible damage in Iraq and Afghanistan. 10 of them, 10 IEDs at the U.S.-Mexico border. That's in Tucson, Arizona. Border Patrol agents are warned to, quote, be vigilant as America is faced with unprecedented migrant surge. You combine 10 IEDs with the FBI and Homeland Security both coming out with be ultra vigilant for terrorist threats between now and Christmas. By the way, Chris called me shortly before coming on the air. Chris is going to be back on here Monday night with the World Situation Report. Chris called shortly before coming on air and said, it's, between now and Christmas, terrorist attacks here in the United States, in the UK, and possibly in other Western nations. That being said, again, this is they were seized at the border in Tucson, Arizona. The Democratic governor of Arizona is sending the state's National Guard to the border to help with the migrant influx. The quote I got was, the federal government is not doing the job, so she's going to have to send the National Guard to the border. And once again, that is a Democratic governor. She won with a significant amount over an opponent who refused to give up and is trying to become Trump's vice presidential candidate. But that's a whole different thing. This comes in from Fox News. Israel accidentally killed 3 of their hostages that were held by Hamas. They thought they were the 3 were part of the Hamas, and unfortunately, Israel killed them. Hamas has said this is not the first time Israel's killed hostages. That all of the hostages, here's what Hamas says, actually, all of the hostages that have been killed either by Israeli bombings or, in this case, in a direct Israeli attack. The doomsday clock, for those that don't know, this has been around ever since it came to prominence when the world went nuclear as far as nuclear weapons. And I remember being very concerned when it was 3 minutes till midnight, when the doomsday clock was reset to 3 minutes till midnight. Midnight is when it's over, the destruction of the world. The doomsday clock is now closer to midnight than ever before in humanity. It is set at 90 seconds. All right. It is set at 1 minute and 30 seconds until midnight. And let me just check that. Yes. As of this writing, the clock is set at 90 seconds to midnight. So, it is meant to be equal parts of metaphor and call to action. Folks, wake up. Something is going to happen. There are too many things going on. I've got my tinfoil always, because a lot of people think some of the things we talk about on here are tinfoil hattish or fear porn. They're headline news, and we need to wake up. And I think that's part of the message that is in the movie that we're going to be talking about. That's our feature, and I'm going to keep pressing towards that. A very, very troubling video coming up next. This is from a Michigan Islamic scholar, and he is calling on Western Muslims to embrace jihad. Let me find a volume here. Hang on.
Especially the youth in America.
Because this is in English. Let me turn him down just a little bit. Here we go.
Now, with the current ongoing events that exposed all the Muslims in the West, especially the youth in the West, especially the youth in America, need to wake up. The current events are a wake-up call for Muslims to start normalizing mentioning jihad's proper meaning and putting it back into their vocabulary. Jihad must be a common and normal term on the tongues and on your social media and the masajid and elsewhere. It's time to seek lessons on the rules and regulations of jihad from its chapters that are in every single reference book of fiqh. It's time to learn the glory and honor of jihad from the books of Sirah. It's time the mothers nurse their infants with the love, jihad, and the ambition of wanting to become a mujahid and a shaheed. It's about time the youth brag about the teachings of jihad that are in the Quran and in the Sunnah and in the Sirah. Never be ashamed of teachings that are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever they are.
So,
America to
what?
wake up.
Yeah, America needs to wake up. Current events are a wake up call. He's saying it. I'm saying it. I hope you're hearing it and you're sharing it because it is something to be considered. Again, if you're just joining us, we're running through the headlines here real quick. Main focus tonight is going to be the film um, "Leave the World Behind," and we're going to get to that in just a couple of seconds. If you're just joining us, I said earlier that those that are around at the end, I'm going to show you a little something from my political days, and we're going to talk politics just a little bit. So um, stick around for that. Got a couple of things from the X Files from the bookmarks, including the term predictive programming in the new movie Leave the World Behind. And this is a map I'm going to be talking about as well. So we will come back to that. In the meantime, predictive programming, for those that may want to know, um, it is a long running conspiracy theory that claims that powerful Hollywood elites are using the media to program the populace. The idea is that, at the behest of the Illuminati or some such, Hollywood makes films like Civil War to normalize the idea of conflict between the states. Predictive programming, according to um, Ohio State University, is the theory that the government or other higher ups are using fictional movies or books as a mass mind control tool to make. Hang on here. I meant to have this up. Um, as a mass mind control tool to make the population more accepting of planned future events. Um, I don't talk about this a lot, but I've got a book, and it was not intended to be predictive programming. But it's got some stuff in it that I wrote back in 2012 out of my imagination that is eerily similar to what's going on. I got 3 books out, by the way. If you care, the links are in the comments below, I believe, or in the description below. So feel free to check that out. Always greatly appreciated, especially around the holidays. All right. Back to the Twitter scroll. Predictive programming in the movie. A hidden QR code appears briefly, and we'll talk about that in just a couple of seconds. I got 2 other things I want to bring up real quick. Michael Cohen, in case you don't remember, he was one of Trump's attorneys. He ended up spending time in prison for Donald Trump, and Cohen has written to Rudy Giuliani. He says Rudy colluded drunken Giuliani was just ordered to pay Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss $148 million for defamation. And Cohen said, I warned this maroon. I know it says moron, but maroon's funnier. It's a Bugs Bunny thing. I warned that this maroon, that everyone who gets close to Donald suffers. Rest assured, the next line from Donald's mouth will be, Rudy who? Um, and and some of the comments they're saying, oh, don't worry, Trump will bail him out. Trump will. I'm more inclined to go on the side of Michael Cohen that it'll be Rudy who, kind of like Hootie Who. Tucker Carlson. I've mentioned on this show before that I had the privilege um, of being around some incredible people that were in politics in a time when a lot of good people were in politics, and it's been a bit. Okay, let's be honest. In my opinion, it's been a bit. There are some good ones, don't get me wrong, but they are few and far between. And I hope you see that. And the choices that we're being forced should tell us something, that there's a reason that they are limiting the choices. Anyway, uh, Tucker has said, quote, and I'm not going to play the thing, but I am going to pull it out. He says there's a spiritual component that he doesn't fully understand. Part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too profound. Um, this is established, and I feel comfortable saying it. These are real, whatever they are. They're not human, and the government has known that for a long time, possibly going back to the 1930s. I've talked on here about Hoover and Eisenhower disappearing and possibly, not disappearing um, from their normal routines. I don't mean like disappearing, but there were time unaccounted for in official logs. That's what I mean. And that speculation is that's when these presidents were meeting with the leaders of whoever they are. Um, Carlson goes on to says there's tons of evidence and written record and paintings and literature that people have been seeing and interacting with these things for a long time, and that's true. Even going back to the Bible, and he says there is some stuff, if it is true, and I'm kind of thinking that it is. It's so radical we don't want to tell the people we love most about it. And then the author of this post, who quoted, um, has these questions, or these questions were asked rather to AI. Are we alone? No. Highest classification, consider the vastness of space. The truth would put 99% of people in the hospital. It must be controlled. I wonder what would put 99% of people in the hospital. Simply not just aliens. Spiritual, in my opinion. It looks like we are getting our wishes of disclosure. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're going to get disclosure. Again, I mentioned that I've been able to campaign and spend time with a lot of people. And I've also mentioned multiple times that one of those people is former President Jimmy Carter. And as a member of the clergy at that time, if you will, um, he and I had a talk about this, a very confidential talk that I had not even brought to light until until a similar conversation was put online. Okay, I'd kept all that secret and hadn't told nobody, until the other conversation came online. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's in a previous episode. I'm not sure how far back, but I'll touch on it again at some point. In the meantime, tonight we're going to be talking about the movie Leave the World Behind. And okay, wanted to make sure I had touched on the things I needed to on here. Um, the movie Leave the World Behind. And one of the things in the movie is there's disruption of the computers, there's disruption of power, except for um, places outside of metropolitan areas. In some cases, outside of metropolitan areas, there was still power for a limited amount of time. Um, and I think this movie takes place in a 72-hour period, basically a 3-day period. And um, I know that former President Barack Obama was involved in this movie, all the way from script to post production. So he not only approves of this movie, but he was a major influence on this movie. He's a major movie dude. And he and Michelle, they are the executive. They are some of the executive producers of this film. Now, that being said, the two of them Whoa. Did you all see that? Did you all see you see my cursor moving? Oh, that's not mine. I'm sorry. That's a, all right. They're showing. Okay, they're showing in the video, and I'll stop it here because I want to talk about that. Freaked me out for a minute. I looked up and the cursor's moving in the screen, and I'm like, "Whoa! I'm not touching this." But my cursor's over here, so um, I forget where I was at now. I was on a roll too, but anyway, um, the movie takes place in what I think is a 72-hour period from the start till the last scene. Barack Obama incredibly involved in it, and that the fact that Barack Obama is involved in it will make a lot of white people never watch it, and that's a shame. And there's a clip from the movie that um, two um, two characters that are from the black community are together. It's a dad and a daughter, and and this was the first thing I saw, like within hours of the movie coming out. Somebody clipped this and said, "Oh, this is a major racist movie," because the young black girl says to her father, um, "Don't trust white people," you know. And so that was immediately played up as a racist comment. Well, depending on how you look at it, um, I personally can see how a whole lot of the black community wouldn't trust white people, and a whole lot of the white community do not trust any black people. That's the way our society is. And is it racist? Yeah, I guess it is. Is it true? Yeah, it is. So again, two things can be true at the same time. Do not let things like that stop you from watching something um, that has a whole lot of message to it. And I asked some people to come on. Nobody wanted to come on. You know, Friday night people have Christmas parties this weekend. Merry Christmas early, by the way. Happy Hanukkah, joyous Kwanzaa. You know, whatever it is, blessings upon you. Um, but some people, you know, I said, okay, you don't want to come on. At least, you know, what's the first thing you thought of when you saw the movie? Because that was one of the questions I was going to ask if we had a panel. And one person said, definitely signs. That paying attention to signs is something that, you know, resonated with them from the movie. Somebody else said pay attention to animals, to Mother Nature. Somebody did say racism. Somebody said there is no normal anymore. Um, Racism dissolves in crisis. There are elites who know, and one of them asked me, you know, what I thought, and I said, well, you know, I've written a book about it. I've been talking about it for a long, long time. Something is going to happen. I just don't know when. Will it happen just like the script in this movie? No, but is it possible a lot of the things that happen in this movie could happen? Absolutely, absolutely. Um, what we got on the screen now is a hidden QRL code. Um, Let me go back to the.
They
Whoop,
have.
I don't want you talking. Um, Here we go. This is what I wanted. There is a scene in the movie where no one knows exactly what's going on, and one of the things that the movie brings out is the impact of lack of information, especially on us as a society, which is used to having, you know, every library in the world at our fingertips, all the information you could ever want, news wise, some of it misinformation, some of it might not be trusted. But there are places you can go to hear the truth, such as where we are now, and how that impacts people. Some people I'll just, I'm not going to give any spoilers away or try not to. If I do, I'll, say spoiler alert. Uh, but some some not having information, it just it really rattled. Okay, and then some didn't care. Um, and then it starts to dawn on everybody that something is going on, and it is going to end up impacting us. Okay. Um, I mentioned I mentioned earlier the concept of predictive programming, and this is indeed um, being accused of that. The film is indeed being accused of that. Just to give you an idea, I did the search obviously here on YouTube of Leave the World Behind, where to watch the movie, the trailers, and I'm going to play one of the trailers here just to give you a little bit of idea. And it's been out for a month, so I should not get struck over using this. But the no, the images of slavery, the KKK, the plantation, etc. Again, and this is a channel we've referenced on here before. Go Black to Africa. I don't necessarily agree with all of his opinions on how he viewed this movie, but that's the great thing about art, and that's what film should be, is that it impacts people differently. I do agree with a lot of the things he said. Um, the ending, a lot of controversy over the ending. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you what the ending is. Um, what is Leave the World Behind movie trying to tell us? Earth is rapidly energizing. That's people that after seeing the movie are going, hey, what are we missing here? Um, Elon Musk reacts to the Tesla Leave the World Behind scene. There is a Tesla scene in. I said we were going to get to the um, trailer, and we'll do that here in just a couple of minutes. There is a Tesla scene in there, and without giving too much away, remember if something happens, there is a cyber attack. It does take down some of the infrastructure, some of that infrastructure, or a solar, a big enough solar discharge to disrupt the electromagnetic field substantially enough to take the power grid down, whatever it may be, and it will hit the satellites before it hits our power grid. And part of that is so much of our transportation is based on GPS and global positioning satellite. And when those satellites go out, that guidance goes out too. All right, let's just, and I'll leave it at that. And let's see. I have not watched this trailer, so let's see what it is. So it is on Netflix, obviously, um, and you can probably. I don't know if you can find it bootlegged on other places that have videos, such as wherever. You might be able to. I don't know, but the movie has gotten horrendous ratings, and I think it is probably from people who haven't seen the movie, um, or who are just scared shitless by the movie because they haven't been following current events. But nonetheless, um, I would recommend seeing. I was only able to see the movie thanks to a very good friend. A very good friend gave me access to be able to see the movie, or I wouldn't have been able to see it. Uh, Full disclosure, I watched it 3 separate times. I was only going to watch it twice, but um, the first 2 times I watched it, and the first 2 times I watched it, I paused it. I took notes. I looked closely for Easter eggs, things hidden in the movie, because I've written some screenplays as well as the books, and of course you have to study and learn how to write a screenplay before you do it. Just as with other, other literature. Um, anyway, one of the things about screenplays is you don't put anything in there that isn't absolutely necessary, because it costs so much to make a movie. You do not waste minutes. Um, so everything in a movie has a purpose. There's art in this movie that has a purpose. There are things in this movie that I believe were placed there intentionally for a purpose, to make us think. Um, there are things we see in our world right now. The use of drones, the idea of the United States being attacked not by one, but by multiple countries. Um, the use of drones, the use of psyops. We've talked about electromagnetic pulses. We've talked about other non-conventional weapons. Um, we've talked on here about what happened at the Cuban embassy, where so many people got so sick from a sound that they had no idea where it was coming from, and suspected to be a Russian sonic weapon that could get to a frequency that would um, cause radiation. Um, it sounds it sounds tinfoil hattish, but if you ever watched an episode of The Big Bang Theory, and I know it's a fictional comedy, but it's based upon the fact that there are really some really super smart people that are born, and some of them have absolutely no concept of uh, humanity or society, um, and some of them hate everybody else in the world. So um, that my basic analysis, again, I'm not going to give any of it away, is I think it's something that people should see, um, and and I think it's something that should open up conversations. And I'm going to talk about this again. This isn't the only time. I'm going to give this a little bit of time and see if some more people see it and want to come on and discuss it. Again, I'm not going to get too much in depth because I don't want to give anything away as far as if somebody decides to see it. And if you decide to see it and you want to come on at a later time, by all means, just let me know. Um, I saw it. I saw a post, and I'm not sure who it was. It was somebody that was banned from YouTube, um, and the post said they want they want us divided and to kill each other, and the only way we combat that is by learning to accept each other and to exist with our neighbors. It sounds really simple, but we're not able to do it. Why? Why are we so hateful of each other? Why are we so violent to each other as far as humanity? Um, is that what humanity really is? And some have ascended slightly to where there should be value in all humanity. And we ask this question at a time when most of the world leaders seem awfully focused on talking about depopulation and about and we're reminded of a video of mine, an episode of mine that was removed because I was talking about the stones in Georgia, not the Rolling Stones, but the monoliths in Georgia that were mysteriously destroyed that had instructions for humanity, including the recommended population of 500 million. We're at 9 billion. I ask the question again, why are world leaders so focused on the concept of depopulation? And I'll close with that as just something to think about. Pop over here to the chat for just a minute, see if anybody's in there. Yeah, Jarm Vicious, we don't have to accept anything. We just need to find our joy elsewhere. No need to hate. Yeah, no need to hate. Say climate change and warming is now weirding the weather. The weather is going to be weird. The weather is going to get weird. And I mean, today I did a brief walk and talk, totally unplanned, just to kind of show some Christmas decorations because it was 57 degrees and sunny 10 days before Christmas in Indiana. And it's not normally like that. But the thing about it is, the idea is trying to be sold that humanity is totally responsible for this climate change. No, it is. It's natural. It's a cycle that the Earth goes through. That some people are using allegedly. Now, this will get me banned if I talk too much about this because especially, I'll get a United Nations climate thing says, here's what the United Nations says in regard to climate, that it's all man-made. I disagree with that. So I won't get any commercials on here or anything, but I'm going to tell you the truth. The Earth goes through cycles if you believe science. If you don't believe science, then, I understand that too because they use science to lie to us too. But they're they're trying to prosper with the idea that it's man-made. They're also trying to depopulate with the idea that it's made by cattle. So we got to get rid of all the cows, all the farm animals. Again, wake up. I don't know, wake up, look up, leave the world behind. Let's find a better way. Let's get together and hey, I've seen Jarm Vicious. I've seen some videos. I saw a video of NASA making storm clouds. I've watched incredible radar from that. The city where I went to college is Muncie, Indiana. Also home of Tom Slick, by the way, cartoon. Anyway, and I've watched storms just pop out of an area up there, wondering, is there some kind of government thing going on up just north of Muncie, out in the middle of nowhere, that these storms seem to just be popping out of the same place. So I'm not going to discount that either. And I don't need to put a tinfoil hat on because we do not know much of anything that our government is doing. And the sad thing is there are a lot of people in our government that don't know what our government's doing or what's being done in the name of our government. And again, that's just something to think about. Hello, Shirley J. Baker. Thank you for being here. Felicia. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. The Georgia Guidestones, some goofy artwork that even more goofy people had their own interpretation of. Yeah, possibly. It's just odd timing when it happened. Peace, love, and sunshine. Thank you for being here. And let's see, am I missing anybody? Don't kill the cook. HARP is a real thing. Um, Lafayette Square Mall. Oh my gosh, West Side Indy. I used to work at a club over on the west side of Indy um, called the Razzmatazz. It was at I think it was 39th and Girls School or 29th and Girls School. I don't remember. Anyway, it's been a while. So all right, I said those of you that stuck around to the end, we're going to do something, and I haven't seen this. Um, I haven't seen this actually since the day after I did this. Somebody found it online and sent it to me and said, "Is this you?" And I had to say, "Yes, it is." Um, again, for those that don't know, I have got a past in. I've been blessed to be able to have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things, and one of those things was being involved in politics. Um, and with the way things are, I've had people approach me about getting back into politics. Um, if I was the person that I'm about to show you, if I was then, um, there's no doubt I would be saying what needed to be said. Um, but where I'm at the moment, I've got. I mean, my vehicle, my vehicle's like 20 years old, and it's like duct tape and a prayer to get me where I have to go. And I don't drive after dark because I don't want it to break down at night. So, with that being said, I think that gives you an idea that that's not a position where somebody normally runs for a political office because you just get hammered by the media and by your opponents for not being um, not being wealthy. Despite if greed had been a motivation, I guarantee you I'd be wealthy. But greed was never and has never been a motivation. That being said, just a little something that again I have not seen since I've not seen since the day after this, and I really don't remember what I said. Um, I'll set the stage for you. This is at an event in Chicago. Um, all of the presidential candidates were there. Some of us had the opportunity to meet with each one of the presidential candidates at that time, and what you see behind these are all the candidates for Congress here in the Democratic Party, and so we'll just go from there.
We had an opportunity to meet all these great people, and I hope you get your cameras ready because we're going to have a group picture in a minute. But we have a surprise for you this evening. Is Barry Welsh in the house? Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Welsh.
Hello. Hello. There we go. Pay attention because I'm not going to throw things. My name is Barry Welsh. And in 2006, I was the Democratic congressional candidate in Indiana's 6th District. My wife, Sherry, is back there. She blogs as congressional candidate's wife. We are proud members of the Dem Roots. My coast user ID is 68838. I'm one of those middle people now. And not too long, I'll be one of the old people because we're going to have those UID numbers in the millions. In 2006, with the help of many supporters, many volunteers, we were able to get 40% of the vote in Indiana's 6th District as an unknown progressive in Indiana, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. We ran a campaign, as it says campaign that based on 3 words: people before profits. And I still believe in that. I still believe in that strongly. I stand before you now, a proud member of the Netroots, a proud member of the Progressive family. I stand before you now to declare my candidacy for the Indiana 6th District seat in 2008. I've thrown my hat into the ring. Indiana 6th District, the seat is currently held by Mike Pence. Mike Pence is the guy that said Indiana is or Iraq is like any Indiana market in the summertime. I'm here to tell you, you don't need attack helicopters to go get sweet corn in an Indiana market, my friends. Come to India and shop at our markets. It's safe, it's secure, it's not bad. In 2006, we took people-powered politics to a new level in the state of Indiana. Indiana's the new Kansas, by the way, in case you haven't heard. We've taken people-powered politics to a new level, and I'm very proud of that. We need to finish the job. 2006, I ran because I had enough. I've had enough, and I'm here to ask you, have you had enough? Has anybody had enough of Alberto Gonzalez? Anybody had enough of Dick Cheney? Has anybody had enough of Big Oil? Has anybody had enough of the roadblock Republicans in general? Has anybody had enough of George W. Bush and the clones that are in lockstep with him like Mike Pence? If you've had enough, let me hear you say, enough! My name's Barry Welsh. It's time for Welsh Pence number 2. I've got 5 words for you. Let's get ready to rumble! My name's Barry Welsh. I'm running for Congress. I need your help. Now on to victory!
So that's why that's why some people have asked me to get back into politics, and if I was that age, I would probably do so. But as it is now, we'll stay here on the internet and keep telling the truth, and hopefully you'll keep coming back, and we'll keep little by little giving people things to think about. We'll see you Monday night at 9 p.m. Chris joins for the World Situation Report. Thanks for being here.